Psalm 136, 1. Hodu l'Hashem ki tov, ki le'olam hasdo. Give thanks to the Lord for good. That is, for He, the Lord, is good. Because to forever is His covenantal loyalty. Hodu, we have a little bit of a trick here. We have one root letter showing, Dalet. And what we can see by the hey on the front, that's a clue for us that this is a hifil. And a hifil, when it's followed by a vav like this, may point to a peyod verb. So this is a peyod verb, but it's also a lamed hey verb, so doubly weak. So yada, to give thanks. And this is an imperative, masculine plural. That is, the psalmist calls upon the congregation to give thanks to the Lord. This verse is a famous, contains famous refrains that are used elsewhere in the Bible, several times in the Psalms, 1 Chronicles 16, even in Ezra and Nehemiah. Now, this term here, chesed, and actually this whole line is going to be repeated as the B line all through the psalm. Chesed then is a very rich term. We'll just use the term covenantal loyalty here, but this term winds up being collocated against terms like truth and righteousness and grace and God's faithfulness. So it's a very rich term in its collocations throughout the scriptures. One of the tricks in this psalm is the sense of ki. Not just a sense of attributes, but as these qualities. But we'll follow Gesenius in 158 especially. You can see in sections A and B that it has the causal sense. And this also matches Hallett, section B on this definition, this causal sense. So that is, these are manifestations or reasons to praise the Lord. These are things that He has done. In the overall structure of the psalm, there's first the threefold imperative to the congregation. Then the focus on the A lines is on God the Creator, then God the Redeemer, and then these things are repeated in a CBA fashion, if you will, switching over to first person plural. He is the rescuer of us, provider of all flesh, third person. So we switch from first to third, and then closing out with one more imperative, to profess gratitude to, surprise, the God of the heavens. The other thing to look for along the way, besides the verb forms, is in verse 4, there's the participle, and then we have the le prefixes, which refers both to the effect of God's chesed character, but also to His solo responsibility for the great wonders. These great wonders are unfolded both in terms of the Lord as creator and the warrior redeemer and the warrior king. Then again, closing off at the end part of the psalm, the shift is going to be to His character in a sense. This is who we, in our lowest state, He remembered. And then us is mentioned the two times. So a very strong emphasis on 1CP, but then that is us together as a congregation. But then there's also, He rescued, He gives bread to all flesh in third person. And then finally again, the final imperative brings us back to the top, but in a much broader perspective. So the structure of the overall psalm needs to be taken into account, even though we'll be focusing verse by verse.